What's up guys, DRJ here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the second part of the Diablo 3 pre-thoughts, final beta, early release, whatever it is. So basically this is the area where I address my concerns about the game. I think the first one would be, the easiest one to pick on is the possible exclusion of the RPG aspect in the action RPG game. I think one of the common criticisms I've heard being leveled at the D3 game so far is, like I said, that removal of the potential RPG aspect, or potential removal of the RPG aspect. One of the ways that people are focusing on is the removal of those skill points, and I kind of have mixed thoughts on those because, as if you guys watched the first part, you know that I played the shit out of Diablo 2, and 99% of any competitive build basically in D2 revolved around basically making a whatchamacallit, min-max build, right? And you get all these different stats or all these different skills and charms and things like that that add ability points, and you basically just add enough points to get the gear that you have, and then you basically throw everything else in vitality. And that's basically true for every build. It doesn't matter if you're playing a sorcerer, fucking warrior, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Magic, ranged, melee, whatever it is, it's all the fucking same. There were a bunch of plateaus that basically you hit. That once you hit those, once you're able to use a certain rune word, or once you gain a certain amount of plus skills, you basically achieved a certain level of deity-like status or god mode. And like I said, I think that when people are placing as big of an emphasis as they are on stat points, I think that they're kind of overstating their importance in the first game. But that said, you know, not having them at all, it is a lot different. And whether or not that's the, you know, like I said, there's more issues going on than just simply the stat points. I think the larger, bigger concern is the issue basically of consoleization, because we know that this game is being pushed towards the console crowd. Blizzard, Activision, obviously realizes, they know how huge the console market is, how much of a huge sales driving economic, you know, factor it is to try to get this game on consoles, which is one of the reasons why, you know, I'm assuming you only have six skills. Gosh, even a huge issue is the, what do you call it, the hitboxes, the hit markers, or hitboxes, I guess, not hit markers. So basically Diablo 2, when you clicked on something, you had to click right on it. It was very precise. It was, you know, like if my finger is the target, I mean, you click here and you get nothing, you click here, you get nothing, until you click right on top of it, you aren't highlighting the target. But unfortunately what's happening in D3 is, depending on the circumstance, the enemies that you're fighting, sometimes these enemies are having up to like a hitbox that is sometimes anywhere from, like, you know, 4 to like maybe 7 times as big as the enemy that you're fighting. So what that means is, if you're using any ranged class, you're going to be consistently running into the problem of trying to move down a hallway, but if you're clicking, if you're clicking at the end of the hallway, you're going to be attacking as opposed to moving. Obviously not too big of an issue playing softcore, you know, Act 1, normal difficulty. Playing Inferno, you know, Act whatever, I'd imagine is going to get people killed all over the place. Even if it's not getting you killed, which I think it will be, it is annoying as fuck. It's one of the reasons why I'm going to be playing a melee character, because you can kind of get away, even though it's still there as a melee character, it doesn't feel quite as significant because you're constantly closing into melee range. So whether or not you're running down the hallway or trying to attack somebody, you're still moving in the same direction. One of the other issues that it's an annoyance is, like, you know, when you have like a big boss mob or something like that spawning other mobs, you're trying to attack that mob in the back, trying to target something back there. You can't attack them. You're attacking all the minions first no matter what happens, because the hitboxes are too big, they're overlapping each other. You cannot click on what you actually want to click on. So in my opinion, it's a huge deal. The good news is that it's been all over the forums. There's massive forum posts on it. But I don't think anything's going to be happening with it because they want this same game to be released on both consoles and PCs. Diablo 2, was it Diablo 2 or Diablo 1? I can't even remember now. One of them was actually released on the PlayStation. It was a PlayStation 2. And surprise, surprise, like, well, the game had a variety of different issues. Some of the people that played it that didn't have a PC were grateful to be able to play this game. But obviously, it's a point-and-click game. There are massive, massive targeting issues involved. It is the single biggest hurdle to overcome. Obviously, this is like I said, when you're transplanting a point-and-click, not FPS, a point-and-click mouse game on to a console, because as everybody knows, controllers are really difficult to use very accurately. That's why, you know, you pair up an FPS player on a PC and an FPS player on a console, and it's a night and day difference. It's that sensitivity, the speed, the accuracy, all of that is just it's a totally different ball game. And admittedly, like, the Blizzard devs have said that right now they have made really good progress on the console. They feel like they can port over everything successfully to the console except for the targeting issues, and you know, there's a couple different ways to do that. You know, you could either not have a cursor anymore. You could basically just have, as you turn your character, you know, it could highlight something in front of you, but then you're running into the same issue like I talked about with these big hitboxes, and that would lead me to believe that the issue that they've tried to overcome, because you can't be nearly as quick or as adept basically as somebody uses a mouse, they basically, it feels like they've tried to solve the problem by creating these ginormous fucking hitboxes so people on PC and people on console can be playing the same game. I don't know if they're going to be playing with each other, and you know, they haven't announced the console's coming out anytime soon, so they haven't released a whole lot of details on that, but it is something that they are working on. You know, even outside of Diablo 3, I still feel like a legitimate concern, because, you know, games, as we've talked about many times before, how the game's development, their creative progress, how that's all being brought forth is being largely influenced by the platforms they're going to be released on. And I think that it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel like games should have, you know, someone who's developing a game, they shouldn't be limited by the peripherals that a console or a hardware device is using or utilizing. You know, you should have the option to be like, you know, this game feels more like a mouse and keyboard game, so we're going to develop it for that. Or this game is feeling more like a, you know, controller or joystick game, so we're going to develop it for that. I think that it's really, really frustrating as a gamer and as a consumer to feel like, you know, my games, the creative, like I said, the creative element behind those games is being limited and held down by the fact that consoles do not use a mouse and keyboard. It's really, really frustrating. And you know, when a king or a giant behemoth in the gaming industry, like Blizzard, now Blizzard Activision, or Activision Blizzard, whatever it is, when they start bowing down or cowing down to this, I mean, who's left to do anything about it? All you can really do is hope that, you know, the next generation of consoles start using mouse and keyboards, because like I said, this game is going to be launching here in 4 or 5 days, and there are like hitboxes that are 6 or 7 times as big as the guys are clicking on, and it's pretty annoying. So as someone who's played quite a bit of the beta, I leveled up all the different characters to max level multiple times. I've wiped them frequently. I think I'm going to be starting off as the Barb, because, like I said, in my experience, it was frustrating playing a ranged class for the reason that hitboxes pop up and they're just kind of annoying. I think you could easily get by. You could play it, and, you know, depending on how picky you are about your games, how picky you are running or walking or stopping where you want to stop or hitting which guy you want to hit, if you're not quite so picky, it doesn't bother you, you know, maybe you're more of a softcore player or something like that, you could probably get by with doing whatever. But in my opinion, it was annoying enough that I don't want to play a ranged character. So we'll see what happens as time goes on. Maybe they modify it, maybe they don't. I think a lot of the other elements in the game are things that no one has really played with before. So how the lack of stat points is going to affect in-game as far as like gear harvesting via the combination of skills and runes is anybody's guess. You know, there are a very, very limited number of players that have, you know, messed around with it, you know, on internal Blizzard testing. No one has touched any of this stuff in the beta. And I'm really curious to see, you know, what happens with that. Maybe it'll be, it's just impossible to say. Who knows what it's going to turn out to be like. Maybe it'll be amazing, maybe it'll be terrible. I mean, you can swap out, you know, skills on the fly right now, or well, there's a very short cooldown. But I think as long as you're not in combat as well. So we'll have to see if, you know, will people feel unique enough from one another? Will it be too easy to, like, you know, to copy somebody's build, you know, that quickly? How exactly is what kind of gear is going to be dropping? It's going to be influencing those types of skills and runes that you're using. How often is that going to be dropping? Will I be forced to use skills based off of the gear that I'm getting versus the other way around? Like, there are so many unanswered questions right now that it's hard to even speculate, because their end game of D3 is so much different than the end game of D2 that it really is just going to take a lot of experience and somebody sitting down and playing it for quite a few hours before anybody can really talk about what the actual end game is like. So I think it's a little too early to say that the RPG or anything like that has gone out of the game's going to suck or something like that. Way too early. We've only seen, you know, the very first couple stages of Act 1. And that's really good. I've played the fuck out of it with, like I said, numerous characters leveled up a million times. And who knows what else is out there, and who knows what the end game is going to really feel like. So I'm a little nervous, but excited for it. And, you know, obviously you guys can expect my thoughts on that stuff as, you know, time goes on. Probably within a week or two of the game coming out. Blizzard themselves, though, has said that they don't expect Inferno to be being farmed like the hardest difficulty for months and months. I don't know about that, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, as always, comments, criticisms, critiques, let me know what you guys think.